Hello guys, my name is Michael. Welcome to my PHP tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll be talking about the PHP file inclusion. You can include the content of a PHP file into another PHP file before the server executes it, not just only a PHP file, any file at all. There are two PHP functions which can be used to include one PHP file into another PHP file. And these functions are the include function and the require function. This is a strong point of PHP which helps in creating functions, headers, footers, or elements that can be reused on multiple pages. This will help developers to make it easy to change the layout of complete website with minimal effort. If there is any change required, then instead of changing thousands of files, you just need to change the included file. Okay, let's take a look at the include function. The include function takes all the text in a specified file and copies it into the file that uses the include function. If there is any problem in loading a file, then the include function generates a warning, but the script will continue the execution. Let's assume you want to create a common menu for your website. Then you can create a file called menu.php, which will be linked to all the pages on your website. Let's check this out using our code editor. Okay, right in my code editor here, I'm already in my folder which I've created for the purpose of this tutorial called thoughts. I'm going to create a file right here, and I will name the file index.php. Okay, so now that I've created my folder, I'll open my normal HTML. I first of all declare, put up a HTML declaration, then our HTML. PHP, title it PHP inclusion, PHP inclusion demo. Then open my body and save. Okay, let's assume that inside the body, I'm going to have a paragraph. This is body of my document. Alright, I've created this file now, and I'll go ahead to run it on my browser. Okay, this is the body of my document. Fine. Now let us go ahead and create the menu PHP file, the menu file. So I would like to create a folder because I like to put all my included files in another folder called include. So I'll create a folder here, new directory. I'll call it include, and right inside include, I'll create a file, and I'll name it menu.php. Okay, so I want to create my simple menu.php file. I'll open my nav tag and my URL tag, list, anchor, index. Okay, now I call this home. I'll duplicate this and change what is inside of them. Okay, and I can go ahead also to change what I have inside here. So I'll call this about .php, and I'll call this contact. .php. Okay, and I call this what shall I call this one now? Let's say services.php. Okay, now I've created my simple navigation menu, and that I've created this will not make it to appear, so I'm going to include it right inside the index folder I just created now. And here in my index, I'll simply come over to this place and use my include function, but then inside a PHP tag, include, and I'll have my include slash. That's the folder that I just created. That's the name of the folder, that's the path, and inside of it I have menu.php, and I close off my. Okay, let's go back and refresh. I didn't save it. Okay, so I'll save. I'll save my file here. Alright, and go back to refresh. Okay, you can see that I have my home here. Alright, now let me do one more thing. I'm going to create another file here right inside the main folder. I'll create a new file and I'll call it about.php. And right inside here I can just open up make my normal declaration again, sorry. Put this inside here. Okay, and open the body. Simply open my PHP tag again, and include again menu.php. Okay, then open a paragraph. For example, this is the about us page. And I'll save it again. Now remember, I just created this about.php and I have this index.php. I link only one include one. I just linked up only this menu to the both files. So if I go back here again to refresh, I'm currently on the index page. If I click about us, this is about us page. If I click back on home, this is the okay. Let me still go back and change what I have inside the index. Just put the h1 tag there and call it home page. Welcome to my site. So save. Okay, and that is my home page. I can see that just with one menu button I'm able to control all the pages, and I can create as many pages as possible and add up the links to those pages right on this page. And it's not limited to only this, not limited to just include. Now let us try to include a file that does not exist. For example, I try to include a file like menu top include.php. You can see that there is no menu top in my include folder here, and by the time I try and I fix this on the index page, so by the time I try to run this folder, you see that we are going to receive an error. Now notice that there is an error that just occurred here. We have include menu tab, failed to open stream, no such file or directory, but the rest of the scripts have executed. That is how the include function works. The include function will throw out an error, and it does not stop the rest of the script from executing. Now talking about the required function. The required function takes all the text in a specified file and copies it into the file that uses the required function. If there is any problem in loading a file, then the required function generates a fatal error and halts the execution of the script. So there is no difference in require and include function, except that they handle errors differently. It is recommended to use the require function instead of include, because scripts should not continue executing if files are missing or misnamed. Now let us try to do the same thing with the require function, and here I'm going to change this include to require and still use the normal menu.php, and I'll go back to refresh this page, and everything still works normal, just as I've used include function earlier. Now I'll come back again. Let's try to require a file that does not exist. PHP top and save. Alright, and refresh. Now notice that there's an error and we can't see the rest of the script. So once a require function throws an error, the rest of the scripts will halt from execution. They will no longer execute. So this is the clear difference between the include function and the require function. They are both the same thing, but the difference is in the error handling pattern. The way the require function handles its own error is different from the way the include function also handles its own error. The include and require function also has similar functions known as the include_once and the require_once respectively. Now let us look at what these functions are. These two functions is the same as the include and the require functions respectively, except that they check if a file has already been included into the file that has this function before executing. Hence, with these functions, a file can only be copied once into the file that calls the function respectively. That is to say, if you have included the menu.php file into another PHP file before, and then you go further at the bottom of the script to include the same menu.php file again, the second inclusion is not going to be executed, because the function says it should include just only once. Now there's a file, that's what we call the require function and the include function, and like I've already explained, they are both the same thing. Now we are going to do something. If I have required this menu down here, probably I included it here. If I come down again to the bottom of this page and I include the same, include menu.php, okay, and this is it. Now this is the same file that I'm including both at the top and at the bottom. Let me save and run this script again. Now you can see that we have this in two places, both at the top and at the bottom. Now in a situation whereby I want this include to be included just once, and I come here again and say include_once, and I also use include_once here. Now let's try to run. Notice that only the first one appears. Simply because it has already been included once at the top. So the second script, the second inclusion is ignored, and that is the difference between the normal include and include once. This also applies to require once. Remember, the error handling are also the same, just as in require and include. So you can use include once, you can use require once. They're all the same thing. Can use include once, can use require once, and you get the same results. So that is all for the require and include function. Feel free to read it. Apart from this, you can equally use these inclusion files to include other things like your styles, your everything. For instance, if we wanted to style this, I can have my CSS. I can create a directory here, call it CSS, and I want to create a file called menu style.css. Menu style.css. Okay, now right inside here I can just create something like this. Since it is my CSS file, probably I want to style the menu alone, and I'll start by calling my nav UL restyle. Okay, and I can easily just do it this way. Just change my display to flex. Okay. Okay. Decoration. No. And change the color to, let's say, white. Change this to black. And let's try to run. Okay, then this is my style.css. Then I come to this place and I have then I'll come back to my include, and I'll just create a simple header file, and I'll call it header default. Now inside this place, all I need is just to link up everything I need to link. And I link it to css/menu style.css. Okay, fine. I can use this head default to link as many style sheets as possible, and even include the JavaScript. If I have any external JavaScript I want to link up, I can also link it up here. And all I do is to come to my menu, just come to my index, and on the header type just include it. Include it once, and I will just say include /head default.php. Okay, even if it is not a PHP file, let's say it is HTML. I want to rename it, so I'll come to this place and I'll show it in Explorer. So I open my Explorer, the location of this file, and I'll simply go there to rename it to HTML. Alright, then come back to my, save this file and come back to my, and refresh. Okay, you can see that the style has affected everything but something is wrong somewhere. So let me check back my CSS. And I didn't actually put a background here. Background. Now save and I'll refresh. And okay, change back this. Okay. Okay, and set the margin to 1 pixels and set padding to this one to 5 pixels. And we have our menu quickly here. So for everything I want to do, once I've already added this, and that is it. Even if I click on my About Us page, the About Us page remains the same simply because I've not included a particular file. So I'll come back to my About Us page. All I need to do is just to include this here. Require _once. Like I said, it's always required to make use of require instead of the include. Default.html. So just refresh, and I'm having the same menu. Each time I want to add more menu to these things, it's easy for me just to edit only one file, the menu.php, and that is all. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification icon. Subscription is free, just subscribe. Thank you.